The alien cadets thought she was a joke. A fragile human, 5 foot nothing, soft skin, bright smile, completely harmless. They refused to spar her, mocked her, laughed behind her back. But laughter died the moment her bare hand met an armored fist, and the floor cracked beneath her feet. In that instant, every species in the training hall learned a terrifying truth. Humans aren't weak. They're calculators with bones, and when pushed, they turn physics into a weapon. If you're already hooked, stick around. This story only gets wilder from here. And hey, if you enjoy these HFY legends as much as I love telling them, feel free to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who thinks humans are the squishy species. Trust me, this one will change their mind. The training hall always shook before dawn, the sound of alien boots, claws, and armored limbs hitting metal floors. Every species trained hard, but the elite class trained like war was waiting outside the door. That's why the room fell silent the moment she walked in. Amber, a human. Small, slight, bright-eyed, and carrying absolutely none of the natural weapons the others were born with. To the alien cadets, she looked like an administrative intern who wandered into the wrong building. A few whispered insults, others openly laughed. A Bronther cadet, 7 feet of muscle and bone ridges, leaned to his friend and muttered, "She cry before she completes a single drill." Amber didn't shrink, she didn't glare. She just smiled, waved at everyone like she was walking into a casual class, and politely introduced herself. The instructor, a 4-armed Crevan veteran named Thex, studied her like a defective datapad. His voice rumbled through the hall. "Human, are you sure you're in the correct course?" Amber held up her schedule with a cheerful nod. "Yes, sir." "Advanced combat training?" The cadets snickered. "Advanced combat, for that?" But Amber simply stepped into formation, ignored the insults, and began watching everyone with quiet, unsettling focus. By the second day, the aliens had stopped laughing openly. But the whispers grew sharper. Amber didn't spar. Nobody would touch her, not because she was dangerous, but because they thought she'd break on contact. So she stood in the back, alone, quietly observing every movement in the room, not with fear, but with an intensity that made even Thex uneasy. While others practiced brute force blocks, Amber traced invisible shapes in the air, slow arcs, geometric angles, odd stances. At first glance, it looked clumsy, but when she moved again, it was smoother, more precise, as if she were solving a puzzle in real time. During water break, she approached Thex with a friendly smile. "Instructor, when you block with your lower left arm, you preload your tendon 0.3 seconds before impact. Is that intentional muscle priming or a compensatory response to armor weight?" Thex froze. That wasn't a question a fragile species asked. Amber wasn't studying combat. She was analyzing it, breaking it apart like a scientist dismantling a machine. By day 3, even arrogant Telnari cadets noticed. "Why is she calculating?" One whispered. Because Amber wasn't preparing to survive the class. She was preparing for something else. Something none of them were ready for. On day 5, the atmosphere in the hall shifted, like pressure tightening before a storm. The door slid open, and a towering Kiltherian warrior stepped inside. Black chitin armor, 4 legs, 2 arms, glowing red eyes. His presence alone felt like a threat. "I am Vaughn," he announced, voice scraping like stone on metal. "I seek challenge." He got one immediately. 3 strong cadets volunteered to impress him. It took Vaughn less than 30 seconds to flatten all 3. A Bronther slammed into the floor so hard the walls shook. A venomous Shrathi was swatted aside like lightweight debris. A Telnari speedster ended up embedded in a weapon rack. When Vaughn stood victorious, barely breathing harder than before, the entire hall fell silent. That's when his eyes landed on Amber. He tilted his massive head. "What is that creature?" "A human," someone snickered. "She's just observing." Vaughn approached her slowly, claws clicking against the alloy floor. "Humans are decorative species, weak, breakable." Amber smiled up at him. "I'm learning. You cannot fight," Vaughn hissed. "Probably not as well as you," she said gently. "But I can try." The room froze. Vaughn's mandibles spread in a predator's grin. "I challenge you, human." Thex intervened immediately, shouting protocol and safety regulations. No unqualified cadet could accept a challenge. Not even a human willing to die proving herself. Amber simply asked, "What do I need to qualify?" TX listed the requirements expecting her to fail: endurance run under full gravity, fall recovery drills, break 3 reinforced training dummies. Amber nodded. "I'll do them now," the cadets gathered, amused. Until the test began, she completed the 20-lap endurance run with time to spare, chatting mid-run like it was a morning jog. Then she breezed through fall recovery, popping back up faster each time TX threw her, laughing like the exercise energized her. By then, whispers had become uneasy silence. The final test: dummy breaking. The dummies were military grade, built to survive battlefield impacts. Even seasoned alien warriors struggled to crack them. Amber circled the first dummy slowly, tapping it, listening, studying. Titanium reinforcement, crosshatch pattern. "Energy dispersion points," she murmured. Vaughn scoffed. "Understanding won't help you," Amber smiled. "Oh, it will." But before she could strike, Vaughn lunged. Killing blow, no warning, no restraint. Amber raised one hand. The impact thundered through the hall. The reinforced floor fractured under her feet. While Vaughn flew backward like he'd been hit by a starship, for several long seconds, nobody moved. Vaughn, the unstoppable warrior, lay crumpled against the far wall, armor cracked, mandibles twitching. The human girl he tried to kill? She simply lowered her hand like she'd blocked a breeze. Amber flexed her fingers. "Sorry about the floor," she said quietly. Misjudged the force redirection. Misjudged she had just redirected 8,000 newtons through her own body without taking a step. The cadets stared at the spiderweb fracture beneath her feet, a floor engineered to survive drop pods from orbit. They'd trained on it for months. None had ever damaged it. Amber did it by standing still. TX approached her slowly, all 4 hands lowered in respect. "You planned that?" "Mostly," she replied. "Your questions helped?" "Once I knew the floor's limit, it was just math. Just math, spoken like a human who had turned physics into a blade." Medics rushed Vaughn to the infirmary. He would live. His pride. Maybe not. But even he, as he was carried out, stared at Amber with something new in his eyes. Not hatred, recognition. The next day, every cadet lined up to train with her, predator species stepping aside for the soft-skinned human who cracked the world beneath her. Amber smiled, ready to teach. Humans weren't weak, they were terrifying.